between 11, right here, roughly 11,600 years ago. Look at what happened right here. You can see right around 15,000 years ago, the climate is actually, if we took this thing out of here, you can see there's almost a trend upwards that gets interrupted right here instantly. Overnight, yeah. And in fact, what has happened is if you go back through the literature of climate change and you read the estimates of how long it took for the planet to shift modes from full glacial to the interglacial like we're in now, 50, 75 years ago, it was 1,000 or more years, thousands of years. When radiocarbon dating came along in the 50s, it began to compress. And what happened is that if you look in the 80s, they're talking about perhaps a century, several centuries. Now comes the Greenland ice cores and other ice cores and other proxies, deep sea cores and so forth, and the correlation of all of this evidence. And it goes from centuries to decades. Well, as the ability to perceive these changes with ever greater precision and ever greater resolution has evolved, it's gotten to now where the climate change that took us from glacial to interglacial happened in less than 5 years. And that's what we're seeing right here in this graph.
What?
That's what we're seeing.
So 2010 glacier, 2015 done. Ice age over.
The glacier, yeah. Bear in mind now that there was a considerable lag between the actual the manifestation of the glaciers, because the glaciers didn't melt that quick.
Right, because they're so huge.
Right.
The
if you just like
that started.
Imagine if we had a big chunk of ice sitting, we had an ice sculpture, right? And if the temperature is, 31 degrees, it's not going to melt. If you turn the temperature up to 70 degrees, right, we can turn the temperature up in a matter, and it could warm up the room in a matter of hours or minutes. But it's going to take a while for that ice sculpture to melt. There's going to be a lag.
Right.
Although the change that led to that meltdown was virtually instantaneous, you see.
Right.
So, but in that period, in this interim, what we're seeing right here, there was an extraordinary, right here, I think if I go to the next slide, I think, let's go to the next one. Zoom in here so you can see this. There were two massive warming spikes. One right here, you can see that we're down here in full glacial mode right there. Boom, right there, this huge spike of warming.
Now, what does that represent when it comes to like temperatures?
That could be on the order of, well, that would be about 10 to 12 degrees centigrade, which would be about 18 degrees Fahrenheit, average temperature.
Which is a crazy
change. Because
we're scared of 2 degrees, right?
We're scared of 2 degrees. And here we're scared of 2 degrees centigrade. Here we're looking at 5, 6 times that much in a matter of a couple of years, you see. At this point, we don't really have an explanation for this. That's why I get really frustrated when somebody says, climate change is over. No. We're in the infancy of understanding the climate of this planet. And when we look at stuff like this, you see, it really drives home that point. And you can see here, right
I think what people are saying when they're saying that the debate on climate change is over, though, is whether or not human beings have had an impact on it in current times.
No question, we have had an impact.
Right.
No question.
Kind of what it is, right?
Well, if you say that the debate is about have humans had an impact or not, I think that there's no debate. Yeah, humans have had an impact.
What they're looking at, though, in your mind, is one aspect of a very multidimensional issue.
Yes, exactly. And my concern is that we're going to get so focused on carbon change that we're not looking at any of these other factors.
Isn't that what people do, though? We concentrate on one aspect of things, and it becomes like almost like a cultural meme, and then it spreads, and this is all people talk about. And so many people, I guarantee you, that were upset at what you said have not researched climate change at all. They just have parroted the words of people that they've heard on television that are experts.
Well, you got this. Well, 97%.
Right.
I agree. Well, if you look into the origin of that, it's pretty contrived. It really is. I mean, how you come up with that. And we could do an hour-long discussion on that. I don't really think we want to get into that today. But I really feel like I should write an analysis of the source of that 97% so-called consensus so that people can really see where it came from. In a nutshell, basically, it goes to 3 or 4 pieces of research, some surveys that went out that were slanted right from the beginning, such as, do you feel that humans have had an impact on climate? Yes, nobody disagrees with that. See, you can go through whoever these so-called deniers are. I have looked and looked. Who's denying? Is there any climate scientists on anywhere on the spectrum that denies that the climate changes or that denies that humans have had an influence on the climate? And I haven't found a single one. So in other words, these deniers that you hear about, the climate change deniers, they don't really exist. There are those who criticize the consensus view, right? That the dominant mode of climate change is being induced by humans. And they are being shoved into this camp of climate change deniers, but they're not. They're absolutely not climate change deniers. And when you look at stuff like this, a lot of these guys who would question the so-called anthropogenic climate change consensus are guys who've done this one.
Now, this work is how old?
Well, this goes to the this goes back to these. This work that I'm showing you here was published in '93. The Greenland Ice Sheet Project and the Greenland Ice Sheet Project and the Greenland I forget, it was GRIP and GISP. The two was a European and an American team. They spent 5 years drilling. So these are the most accurate proxies we have in hand.
And they're pulling tubes of ice? Is that what looks like a cylinder?
Yeah, like cylinders. Picture maybe 6 inches in diameter.
So they have like a circular cutting thing?
They have a circular cutting drill that extracts these ice cores. And for the last
What's this motherfucker's name?
Hello? It's happening again. All right, I'm on it. We need you back.
Good officers. What's up, y'all? We're going to be going live on our 15 different channels. Take a look. Just going everywhere. Just ping up. Check it out. Alright, dude. It's fun. Oh, Yosh, like, no, you can't do this. Because they'll take you down once they hear that it's random shit. They should like play a bunch at once. Shout out to New South Wales. Oh, it's that girl. kind of stuff. Ghost story? It's cool. I think on Wikipedia they should take down if you have like mental health issues. If you want to be up there, cool. I put stuff on there about suicide. Why? Because I viewed it every day. I hate it right now. Francisco? Camping? What's up, camper? You're beautiful. I want you to know that we are streaming live on Viral Rabbi. Look at this. Where you can hear all the echoes. Look at all these that we got going on. ViralRabbi.com. Take a look at it. ViralRabbi.com. Oh, I can't hear it. Just like Yosh. I fucking hate Penn State. And I swear to God, Michigan, we will die on our fucking deathbeds. Fucking telling those motherfuckers what to do. Why? Jealous. You done? You started Michigan? Probably not. Why was it that I couldn't find the school now? They just switch in the things to. Let me see what it is. What's up, Plank PMC? What up, Bear Bear? Check us out. Look at all these on which we are. We're on. We're on 50 different streams right now. Look at all these things going. Just crazy. So we're gonna be listening to some music. Anna Carlson is on Joe Rogan Experience. We could have Mike Tyson. Bye. This is like bigger. Mike Tyson, Joe Rogan. Seven Powers. Why Mike Tyson? Give Mike Tyson a big deal. I'm a rabbi. I'm a doctor. I'm a lawyer. a lot of things get sick. Really? How optically I am. All right, we got Mike Tyson on here twice. All right, what are we doing? Well, check this out. We got this new one over here. Right, kid. Dude, look at all these things.
3, 2, 1. Boom, and we're live.
What's happening, Joe?
What's up, Mike? Tom Segura is in the
What's
house
up,
for a
man?
few minutes here to
Yeah,
stop by to say hi. I can't believe you never had a cup of coffee.
Never.
You want some?
No.
That might be
That might be the most outrageous
thing about you.
Is that you've never had
coffee. Your whole life, you've never had coffee.
No.
Did you just?
Tea, never coffee.
No one ever offered you a cup of coffee?
No.
You never went to Starbucks?
Never for tea. I've done that.
Wow. What about like?
When I was in Miami, it was at Starbucks.
You should. That's
Right out.
really.
That is that. How about like girlfriends' wives? None of them ever drank coffee at home.
I'm sure they have, but I never. My wife drinks it.
Why?
And you just
Some Motown. Come on.
no. Well, I'm so
All the
addicted
stuff
to
I
coffee.
did, all the stuff I did, you think coffee would be nothing.
Michael Jackson.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
Michael
that's what I'm saying. Like it doesn't make any sense.
Jackson.
When did you first try any drugs?
Kid, 10 years old, 9 years old,
What kind of shit?
smoking and drinking.
Right.
Then as I got older, I tried acid.
Alan Jones.
How old were you when you first tried acid?
Probably 11.
Alan Jones.
Wow.
Yeah, really young.
Jesus, man. Wow, that's really young. Wow. But when you were the champ, when you were in your prime, like when you beat Trevor Bourbon, anything back then?
Drinking a lot.
That's amazing.
Did you go clean for camp or like
Yes, I can.
Just for camp.
yeah, but outside like once fight's over and
Yeah,
yeah.
wild.
Yeah.
You were the first guy that I ever used as an example of to break that old myth that you can't have sex before fights. And I was like, that's out there, for sure. Because you would talk about it all the time. You'd be like, yeah,
Pretty much, yeah.
yeah.
Pretty much, yeah.
The logic made sense too. You're like, I don't want to be thinking about sex. I'll just get it out of the way.
Yeah, and it's over with. You have to do it. You feel something 6 weeks and you with your fight.
Do you think that was a myth that it made you weak?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to make sense.
It seems odd, yeah. And then like whenever there's
That
the
would
Olympics,
inspire you more so than disintegrate you.
Yeah.
I would think.
they said that the Olympic where the athletes stay, it's just like fuck fest.
Of course, I think so. Yeah, they would
Also, you probably want to alleviate some anxiety.
Anxiety,
Freaking out. You're at the Olympics. You're 18 years old.
and everyone's in amazing shape.
Stressed out.
Yeah. When you were first coming up, and when you were first, when you were Kid Dynamite on Sports Illustrated, first coming up, and when you were first, when you were Kid Dynamite on Sports Illustrated, I'll never forget that, man. That was your era from like, the 80s, the late 80s. That era. That, man. That was your era from like, the 80s, the late 80s. That era, like, it was a big part of my youth. Like man, you being the champ was like, it was a change of things. Because when Larry Holmes was the champ, as a boxing fan, I loved Larry Holmes. There's that cover. You were
Got that stuff, man.
it's there. It's on Jamie. I had that sports illustrated. But when Larry Holmes was a champ, as a boxing fan, I appreciated him. I knew he was a great fighter. We would get together with friends and watch like the Michael Spinks fight with Larry Holmes.
Yeah.
When Spinks beat him, it was a big deal. It wasn't a big deal culturally. Yeah, people didn't care as much. But then you came around. When you came around, all of a sudden, everybody's watching heavyweight boxing. Heavyweight boxing wasn't boring again. It was the most crazy, exciting thing in sports. When your fights would go on, it would be about, should I pay for this? Because how long is this going to last? That never existed.
Yeah, people tell me about that time they all shipped in and down. I never think about it like that. Sometimes, pretty much like a blur.
I couldn't imagine what it would be like to be 19 years old, 20 years old, that fucking famous. Who can handle that? Can anybody handle that?
That was his blueprint.
Right. Did he give you advice on how to handle pressure and fame? And
Oh, the pressure. There's really no medium how to handle it. Part of the fame, your problem.
To bring some love here today.
It's the level of fame too. It's like there's so many. You realize there's so many levels of fame, and then Mike's is still just extraordinary. Where like people walk away from their job, like an airport. They're supposed to be at the cash register, and they run out. You know, they leave their job and go say hi. That's not. You know, most of the time, like, oh, that's who that person is. It's a totally different thing.
Where is that?
When I
Get the fuck away from me, man. What are you doing? Creep. I never show me that. Yeah. Hey, come here. Now you know it's just what it is.